going on? What's going on? What's going on, successors? All right, everybody. Welcome to Speak Your Success in the Morning. I'm Jonathan Jones, and y'all are in for a great show today. Today is Thursday, May 8th, 2025, and y'all already know it is a great day to be alive. Y'all, and you know, we can't really get this ship moving, can't really get this ship sailing without me bringing out my co-host. So come on out here, producer Britt. Come on, come on, come on. How we doing? How we feeling? It's Thursday.
Hey, 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 what's up, Jonathan?
What up? What up? I see you got some headphones. I see you got some new gear over
I
there.
see you
What you
got
got
some
going?
headphones.
Hey, man, you know, we a team. We got to do this thing in unity, in unison. We got to move forward. Got to elevate. But we here, you know.
I like it. I like it. Yo, I think we sound great.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. Okay, I would
Yeah.
agree. So today is Thursday. So what that
Today is
means?
Thursday.
What
Yep.
that means? What that means?
That means we're having law talk with attorney Fred Jones, and I
Oh,
am excited. We got some tough stories to talk about, but it's
yeah.
definitely important that we talk about them. Get our opinions on them, get the facts, and just make sure that we're educating ourselves on what's going on right now in the world. So yeah, I'm
Yeah,
excited. I'm excited.
yeah. This is true. This is true. This is necessary. This is essential. And you know, like I said the other day, we got to continue to educate each other as we move forward to make sure that we're not in the dark no more. We can't
I
afford to be in the
agree.
dark. Fine. So
I
we got
agree.
to
No,
know.
you don't want to be in the dark in 2025. But yeah, we got a long show, so I can't banter with you right now. So let's go ahead and get into straight from the source. I'm gonna kick it to you.
All right, let's go ahead and get into it. So, family, we've been walking down the Romans road for the past couple of days, and yesterday we were in Romans chapter 6, and today we're going to trickle down. And the next verse in the Romans road would be Romans chapter 5, verse 8. But I'm gonna and verse 8 would be, but God demonstrates His own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Right? I want to just hit that verse there, but we're gonna take it from the top of Romans chapter 5, and we're gonna start from verse 1. But I wanted you just to know that verse for the context as we continue to move down this Romans road. But the text reads, "Therefore, since we have been justified through faith, we have yet been there. At okay, there we go. Okay, um, here we are. Therefore, since we have been justified through faith, we have peace with God through our Lord Jesus Christ, through whom we have gained access by faith into this grace in which we now stand, and we boast in the hope of glory of God. Not only so, but we also glory in our sufferings because we know that sufferings produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope. And hope does not put us to shame because God's love has been poured out into our hearts through the Holy Spirit who has been given to us. Verse 6, you see, at the right time, when we were still powerless, Christ died for the ungodly. Imagine that, right? Imagine that you're in a position and you're in a place to where we really don't have anything to offer to God, right? There was no sacrifice that would be adequate enough for us to trade in order for us to get the glory and the salvation of God. And I'm pick up from verse 6, and then we're going to break this down a little bit. You see, at the right time, when we are powerless, Christ died for the ungodly. Very rarely would anyone die for a righteous person, though for a good person, someone might dare to die. Verse 8, but God demonstrates his own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Verse 9, and I'm going to wrap it up. Since we have now been justified by his blood, how much more shall we be saved from God's wrath through him? Family, as you can see throughout this text, the phrasing continues to come up. It continues to come up that there's a just a comparison, right? From death to life, from being sinners, right, to knowing that we're saved, and knowing that God has a wrath, right? Because He's a just God, right? The Bible says that it rains on the just and the unjust alike. One thing we have to know and understand in this text, as I go back up, as I go back up to the top of here, in the verse 1, it says, "Since we have been justified through faith, we have peace with God." Imagine that. Like, I don't know what your day to day may look like, but if I was to assume, there's days to where we all face struggle. There's days to where we all face anxiety. But imagine what life can look like and how life can feel with you knowing that you have a different level of peace, right? You know that after you leave your job that might be stressing you out or wearing you down, you know that, well, wow, I actually can go home feeling light, feeling free because I have the peace of God. And I want to jump down. I want to jump down to now verse 3, where it says, "Not only so, but we also glory in our sufferings because we know that sufferings produces perseverance." It's one thing to suffer, right? To suffer, be frustrated, be angry about different things, but it's another thing to suffer for a purpose, right? And one of the best examples that I can think of is if you're somebody who's a part of a team and you're going to the gym and then you're working out, and then the workouts are hard, they're exhausting, they're beating up your body because you're trying to build to be in a better state, healthy, right? And you know that you're going through this suffering because you're building up muscle, you're building up endurance, you're building up strength for the team, right? So it helps you have a different level of perspective while you're doing that work. But it'd be another thing if you were just going in and suffering, right? Just struggling through it and like, I don't know what's going on. I can't even get together like what's happening or why I'm even doing this. But the suffering produces perseverance, right? Which that's endurance. It gives us character, and that character gives us hope. And then our hope doesn't put us to shame. It says in verse 5, because God's love has been poured into our hearts through the Holy Spirit. When we accept that we're sinners and we understand that Jesus died for us, now this gives us a relationship with the Holy Spirit, who now can not only provide us hope, but provide us guidance, right? And understanding this and knowing this in the back of your mind as you're going out through your day-to-day life, it is it's a superpower to have the Holy Spirit on your side. So to today, the challenge that I want you just really to think about, right? Think about you being somebody who's trapped in a mud pit. And the more you fight to get out of the mud pit, the more you begin to sink, right? And that's a representation of us in sin. The more we try to get out of it on our own, the more we try to beat sin on our own, the more we'll sink into the sin that we're currently in. However, verse 6, when we were still powerless, Christ died for us. So it's about us understanding I'm in the mud pit. I see that God has thrown me a rope, and I can grab the rope and I can stop fighting, and I can allow him to do the work and do the pulling for me. Today, I want you to allow yourself to submit your struggle to God. Don't fight anymore. Allow yourself to take a back seat and allow Christ to be able to help elevate you out of this situation, out of this struggle, out of this worry. Family, I'm Jonathan Jones. This has been your straight from the source today. We were in Romans chapter 5. We read verses 1 through verse 9. We'll be right back with more Speak Your Success in the morning.
Looking for an exciting workout that's not only fun but makes you feel alive? It's time to step up your fitness. Extreme Hip Hop with Treese, that's your answer. This isn't your typical workout. Extreme Hip Hop with Treese is an energizing step workout that combines simple moves with fresh beats, both old and new, creating an atmosphere that makes fitness exciting. With a focus on all elements of fitness, cardio, muscular conditioning, flexibility, and balance, you're guaranteed to burn calories and get addicted to the energy. Extreme becomes your safe space, which is a welcome environment where everyone is accepted. It's where you can let go of those worries of the world and focus on getting healthy. Ready to get energized? Join Extreme Hip Hop with Treese today. Do you want to feel confident in your skin every day? Introducing Skin Rituals, a luxury home based skin studio that specializes in hyperpigmentation, acne, and personalized treatments for every skin type. Owned by solo esthetician and registered nurse Courtney Durham, Skin Rituals is all about curating facial treatments designed just for you. Hydrate, brighten, nourish, and soothe your skin with expert care and cutting edge techniques that promote natural healing. Whether you're looking for a relaxing facial or a transformative chemical peel, Skin Rituals offers results driven treatment tailored to your needs. With over 7 years of experience, Courtney's goal is to help you safely achieve the healthy skin that you deserve. At Skin Rituals, we believe that taking care of your skin is an investment in your confidence. Book your appointment today and leave every session feeling grateful for the choice that you made to take care of yourself. Skin Rituals, because your skin deserves the very best.
Family, what's going on? Welcome, 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 welcome back to Speaker Success in the Morning. We are 11 minutes after the hour, and y'all, we're your favorite morning show. We're coming to you live, 6 a.m. Central Standard Time through 7 a.m. Central Standard Time every Monday through Friday. So y'all, act like you know, okay? Act like you know. And y'all, I'm excited because today is Thursday, and every Thursday, here on Speaker Success in the Morning, what we have is Law Talk. And this is just the opportunity for us, right? For you, for me, for producer Britt, for all of us to come together and for us to be able to get a real life perspective from an attorney, right? From an attorney who's sharing light on us around the news and around current events. So we're not going to belabor the point anymore. We're not going to waste any more time. Y'all, today, I'm going to go ahead and bring out my father, attorney Fred Jones, because this man here, who I have the ultimate respect for, producer Britt, we got my dad on the show. It's one thing,
I
to
know,
be
I'm
able to,
excited.
holler at your parents from here and there, but it's another thing to be able to, do life with them in this way. So, Dad,
Yes.
welcome to the show. Phone Fred first, attorney Fred Jones, Law Talk. Man, let's go ahead and get into it. Producer Britt, you got the mic.
Welcome. Good morning. Good morning. How you doing?
Doing great.
Great. Great.
Excellent, excellent,
Yes.
excellent.
Okay, so I gave everyone some homework. We got some articles to talk about. This one right here. Oh man. So we're just gonna start heavy and then, we're gonna trickle down. But three former Memphis officers acquitted in fatal beating of Tyree Nichols after he fled a traffic stop. So the verdict came in yesterday, Attorney Fred. And all three officers, they were acquitted and they were found not guilty. Can you speak to that just a little bit?
It's one thing to be tried by public opinion,
Mm-hmm.
and it's another
Mm,
thing to be tried by a court of law. And unfortunately, we're living in a time where we get snippets and clips and videos that emotionally stir us and charge us. But at the end of the day, there's a rule of law and there's levels of proof that must be proven or demonstrated in a court of law in order for a decision to be made that protects us all. So when we look at something like this, as tragic as it seems and as it feels and as it was,
Mm-hmm.
but once it goes through the legal process, then we get this kind of outcome, and the public is saying, how in the world can that happen? I'm reminded of something one of my students said one day, and I won't say the exact words that she said, but she said, Dr. Jones, lady, the woman, the lady of the woman of justice, the she's supposed to be blind, but every now and then, Dr. Fred, I believe she takes a peek.
Mm. Yeah,
mm,
Okay, justice is supposed to be blind, but every now and then, I think it can be very biased.
mm.
I agree. Jonathan?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't think that there's really any more to say than that because as we see these headlines and
Mm-hmm.
we're updated with this news, it's just one of those things where it's like another one again, and but just like we talked about before, and like we always talk about offline, producer Britt, like we still have to bring this news up because as this continues to happen, we need to see what lessons can we take from this, and we need
Yeah.
to see what can we apply, what can we share with the next up and coming generation, so that this doesn't continue to happen.
Speaking of the next generation, and speaking of so this doesn't continue to happen, let me be very clear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe, this is my opinion, that
Hmm.
those officers should have been acquitted. Okay.
Mm. Hmm.
Too
Mm-hmm.
many
Hmm.
times we turn our backs on the law when it comes to the blue.
I
Mm.
agree.
And
Hmm.
the court oftentimes is biased when it comes to the blue. We can do anything, shoot a person in the back, and that's justifiable. That's not good law. So I don't see or haven't seen, in my opinion, with all due respect to the verdicts that came out, anything that should have caused those officers to be acquitted. I don't see it. And I don't, and so when it comes to talking to our youth and our young people, we still have to do everything we can to avoid or having any encounters with the law, because at the end of the day, when our sons and daughters show up in court, they're subject not, the Lady Justice is subject to take a peek and become very biased, especially when it comes to the police. So
I
I want to
agree.
be
Well
clear on
said.
that.
Yeah, I agree. When I read the article and how descriptive it was and what they did, it was just horrible, horrific, and very graphic. So I definitely agree that I don't think they should have been acquitted as well. And their sentencing, um, it would have been pending, but yeah, not now, not anymore.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, and then producer Britt, actually, so I have some insight from a slightly different angle. So I
Oh,
have
okay,
a
yeah.
uncle who actually is a former state trooper in Louisiana,
Uh
and
huh.
he would let me know that there would be times that they would handcuff individuals, and then officers would stand around and they'd say, "Who wants a shot at him? Who wants a shot at him?" And then they would proceed to put their hands on him, like swing, punch, different things like that. So knowing that, and just like my father said about how sometimes justice can turn their back when there's an opportunity to really for
Mhm.
justice to be served, then
Mhm.
this is something we need to take into account. Like, you did wrong, like you should be punished. You should do the
Agreed.
time, right?
Yeah.
If you're for the blue or if you're not, that's just the fact of what it is.
And I think and it hurts more because it's four black men, three black officers, one black
Yeah.
victim, and we just went through George Floyd not too long
Hmm.
ago, and just to see this happen again, but in our community, in our culture, it really hurts. And so they definitely should have paid the price for what they did. I agree. I agree.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay, moving right along. Glad we started with that. So next we're gonna go to the student loan situation, the student loan repayment.
Hmm.
I want to take your money. I want all my money back. So the federal government has resumed collecting on defaulted student loans after a 5-year pause. So I had two articles here. This one right here is from the Guardian, and then I have another one from the Grio. The one from the Grio kind of pinpoints how this is going to affect black borrowers, and it states that the article states that it's going to really affect black women because black women go back to school and get more degrees and more educated than anyone right now. So it's crazy how they go to school to get educated, but on the back end they're going to be they're going to be penalized for going to school because they can't necessarily afford to pay back these high student loans. So I'll open the floor for anyone to speak.
Well, a loan is a debt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You engage in a loan, and now here's a rule of law I'm often reminded of: the law will not come to the aid of
Mm-hmm.
anyone who enters a bad bargain.
Mm.
I want to say that again. The law will not bail you out if you enter into a bad deal with somebody. So
Mm-hmm.
if
Mm.
someone, so let me just ask a question, producer Britt, Jonathan, if someone comes to you and say, "Can I borrow $5?" Uh, can you let me have five till Friday? Five till Friday. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
five till Friday. Friday come, you expecting your five, right?
Most
And
That's
definitely.
right.
then if you know, so here's the deal. Um, uh, this is ugly. If he wants, if one administration have given relief, and another administration comes in and takes away that relief, right?
Yeah.
Opposite. Yeah.
I think here's the lesson. We as a public should be more informed of the benefits of our vote so
Mm.
that when actions like this take place and we're smacked in the face, then we see how valuable that one vote was when you stayed at home and watched TV or a football game or something else and you didn't go out and vote.
Mm.
That's true.
This is some of the repercussions that we face when we don't support an administration that supports us.
Mm.
Mm.
My.
Coming
That's
hard. Yeah.
man. That's a strong coffee
I
right there.
mean,
That's a
yeah,
strong coffee.
that's truthful though. Yeah,
That's
that's definitely
that's
true.
real true. And then one thing I also even saw in the article, producer Britt, what was where it talked about how student loan plans are often too costly for most borrowers who have
Mm-hmm.
decided paying student loans and keeping a roof over their head. It even went on to say that it's to a position and to a place to where people won't be able to pay their child care, won't be able
Mm-hmm.
to pay for housing because their student loans are going into collection and wages being garnished, and then they won't be able to pay for utilities. So it's like to the point of, okay, am I going to pay the student loan bill or am I going to pay to live? Which is a tough situation. That like don't nobody want to be backed into that corner.
Yeah,
So it's like,
of course not. You don't want to be backed into that corner, but at the same time, you made the decision to go back to school and take that loan, like, so you're responsible for that. And I guess it's find a better job so you can pay the loan or, because I mean, like we went
yeah,
through the loan process, repayment on the show a couple of times. And
yeah.
like I said, mine were I have one semester of school that 1 year of
Hmm.
school that I paid for. And the my payments were as low as $27. And then I've
Yeah.
seen some payments as low as $0, which I was
This is true. This is true.
completely jealous of. And then Jonathan, you went a different route. So can you talk about that?
Yeah, so the different route that I went, well, one I went and there's the dispute route. So of course we know
I
that
gotta hear this. I gotta hear this.
yeah. So
Mm.
well, I mean, because you sent me some information, and also my wife sent me some information, and just seeing that that you can dispute it based on the law around like the Privacy Act. I don't know the exact law. I'd have to like pull it up, but with Elon getting access to like our data and our records,
Mm-hmm.
so it's like by him getting access to that, that was in like not right. I can't. I'm not thinking of the words right now. But by him getting access, then this is something that to where we can dispute. So I typed up the letter. I sent it off. Of course, I'm still waiting to see what takes place. But sent that letter and then also sent one to the credit card companies,
Mm.
just to see about what can come of this. And hey, hopefully I hope to have an update here. I mean, next few weeks would be ideal. Don't know how long it's going to take, but at the end of the day, I'm somebody who's in a position to where I don't want wages garnished. I don't
Of
want
course
Trump
not.
hands in my pocket. So I want to see what other route we can take and what else can happen and what can come from this. And of course, I'm gonna come back and report the information so we can know and we can move forward.
So, Dr. Jones, can we dispute these?
Absolutely, absolutely. I definitely want you to know that borrowers have rights.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and
Hmm.
if the government can take actions that are violating those rights, then the borrower has the right to appeal. There's certain limits that the government can take, and so, but there's protections that protect borrowers, and so that's going to be the key to know that while there's some funds that can be garnished and seized, all cannot. and it's going to be left up to the borrower to be aware that you can dispute, especially when Jonathan makes mention of when your privacy has been violated or information has been leaked that has caused a
Mhm.
lender to tighten up or to foreclose. If the lender has had a unfair advantage, then the borrower may have a defense that can cause them to be protected. So definitely, you have rights.
Okay. I like it.
Okay, I'm
All
looking
right.
forward to that. Okay, I like
Okay.
hearing that.
All
Producer Britt,
right.
I like hearing that.
Excited. Me too. Okay, speaking of schools, now we're gonna move because there's schools closing around
Mm,
Texas slowly but surely because of this new Greg Abbott $1 billion voucher milestone for choice supporters. So Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed a $1 billion school voucher program, one of the largest in the country, allowing families to use public funds for private school tuition. The program, effective next school year, will provide $10,000 per student with higher amounts of students with disability and could cost up to $4.5 billion by 2030. Um, so, from my understanding from the article, what's happening is that it says right here, it says down below, right here. Blah, 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 blah. Republican lawmakers and bill supporters say it will give parents more choice by letting them pull their children out of poor performing public schools.
mhm.
Um, so what does this actually mean, Dr. Jones? What does this actually mean? What is he actually doing with this, with the money and yes.
Well, everybody loves freedom.
Mm,
Everybody loves being
Mm,
able to say, okay, I can send my children to this school or that school. But when you go to talking about vouchers for private schools, and you got to look at what are the values, the views, and what is that private school promoting. The
mm,
money that we're talking about is public funds. So when
mm,
you're using public funds to support private schools, then you're going to have this issue of separation between church and state. And that's one of the things that's an issue here that those who oppose this are going to push. Another issue that's very important is equal access and discrimination. If these
mhm,
schools
mm,
are discriminating and not giving equal access to all, that's going to be a major pushback and a major concern as well. So anytime you go to talking about money, you're gonna have an issue with is it fair? Okay, and then if we
okay.
can't say it's not fair, then
makes sense.
it's going to hit that church and state separation of church and state. That's going to be a big issue, and that's pretty much what we're looking at here.
Wow.
Wow, wow. Well, I
Wow.
mean, so
Jonathan,
okay,
yeah,
so
what were
my
your
thought
thoughts when you read
here,
it?
so my thought here, now being a father of two, right, newly father
Mm-hmm.
of two, and as we're looking at daycares and summer school and school as a whole, so one of the things that comes to mind is, yeah, people could get credits or they could get vouchers, but at the end of the day, just like my father was talking about with access, just because you're in the heart of Oak Cliff and you get a voucher, maybe you don't have access to go to school in Highland Park. Maybe you don't
Right.
have access to be able to, get bussed over here or get bussed over there. Or maybe you don't even have the accessibility to be
Mm-hmm.
able to, teach a child at home because you might need to be at work or whatever it might be. So, thinking about that and like what you hit on in the article, producer Britt, where or I was looking at it says, gone are the days that families are limited to only the schools who's assigned by government. Yeah, there might be a variety of schools around you, but what if you don't even like those schools? What if you're going to go to a
Right.
different
And I guess
so
you really don't necessarily have a choice. I mean,
yeah, so now,
yeah.
it's one of those things that I mean, because like when you were growing up, I feel like me and you had talks and you shared like like your mom or your parents had the ability to be able to move you from one place to another so you can get
Mm,
access to different things. Everybody don't have those freedoms.
that is true.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah,
true.
and that issue there is going to be an issue of accountability. How are we going to hold these schools that are receiving these vouchers accountable to make that access available to all? And what measures will be put in place for those who are spending those funds and getting those funds? And bottom line, will it be fair? And those are the kind of questions that parents and the community is going to raise. even though, hey, who wants their child to be in a failing school?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Exactly.
you know,
Right. So when you're saying like when it's unfair, you're saying so if I had a child and they're in a poor school right now, a low scoring school or what have you, and I get a voucher, a $10,000 voucher, and I say, okay, I'm gonna put my kid in private school. Now it's up to the school to accept my child, correct? And then go ahead.
no, you go ahead. Mhm.
No, I'm just saying. So it's up to them to accept the child based off their criteria or requirements.
Yeah, but it's going to be the parents who's left behind in that failing school to say, I can't afford to, I didn't get a voucher, and my child is not able to go to that school. Is that fair
Mm,
to us who are here in this public school who are having to deal with the circumstances there? Is that fair for the funds to go over there, and my school, which is failing, is being deprived of those funds and
Wow.
not given funds and supported? My school is going to continue to do bad. My child is going to do bad, and what am I going to do? And that those are the people
gotcha.
going to argue.
Mm,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
man.
Understood.
I mean, yeah, because looking at the elements of this whole situation, producer Britt, just like we talked a little bit about NIL yesterday, like it's never going to be enough because yeah, you can give somebody a $10,000 voucher, great, but what if that only covers a semester of school at this new school that they wanted to go to that's high performing? Now
Mm,
what? You don't have the money
mm,
to cover the other 3 semesters. So now what happens now? We go
jeez.
back to the drawing board. We people are going to have to do different things. So it's shifting a lot more than just the education piece. And
Yeah.
then
Whereas the people that can afford it, I mean, y'all are good. Y'all are just
yeah,
reaping the
great,
benefit.
great.
Yeah, y'all are just reaping the benefits off my $10,000 voucher, pretty much. But wow.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah, 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 yeah. And I feel like these are conversations that are these are factors are pieces that aren't being as considered as we would like them to be because these voices aren't being represented in the rooms.
Yeah, and I mean it's all about money. It's all about money. It's all about greed because why would you do that to the kids? And it's just bad in my opinion. So,
Well, if you ever want to understand the law, follow the money trail. She who
mm,
has the gold makes the rules. It's the golden rule. So
Mm.
it's always going to be there.
understood. Understood. Okay, guys, we are doing law talk with attorney Fred Jones. We need to take a quick commercial break. We got a couple stories left when we come back, but we'll be right back with more speaker success in the morning.
Are you a new or budding entrepreneur looking to set your business up for success? Profit Mode is here to help you navigate your entrepreneurial journey with expert education and services. From tax planning and bookkeeping to selecting the right business structure, Profit Mode has you covered. They'll even educate you on how to properly set up your business for building credit so you can grow with confidence. Profit Mode's mission is to provide you with the tools and guidance you need to establish a solid foundation for your business. Whether you're just getting started or you're ready to take the next step, we're here to support your goals. Let Profit Mode help you turn that entrepreneurial dream into a reality with the knowledge and services to back it up. Your success starts with the right foundation. Contact Profit Mode today to get started. Looking for an exciting workout that's not only fun but makes you feel alive? It's time to step up your fitness. Extreme Hip Hop with Treese, that's your answer. This isn't your typical workout. Extreme Hip Hop with Treese is an energizing step workout that combines simple moves with fresh beats, both old and new, creating an atmosphere that makes fitness exciting. With a focus on all elements of fitness, cardio, muscular conditioning, flexibility, and balance, you're guaranteed to burn calories and get addicted to the energy. Extreme becomes your safe space, which is a welcome environment where everyone is accepted. It's where you can let go of those worries of the world and focus on getting healthy. Ready to get energized? Join Extreme Hip Hop with Treese today.
What's going on, family? What's going on? It is 34 minutes after the hour. This is Speak Your Success in the Morning. Those who are rocking with us right now live, or even if you're catching this on replay, right? Go ahead, hit that like button, hit the thumbs up, just so YouTube can get notified that you enjoy this content, you're rocking with this content, you appreciate this content as we're educating each other and as we're going forward today on our conversation. All right, so hit that thumbs up button just to make sure that YouTube knows that you appreciate educational, informative, and inspirational content. But now we're about to go ahead and get ready to dive back in to Law Talk with our with our with our panel. We got producer Britt. We have
Our panel is
attorney
crazy.
Fred Jones.
That is funny.
Hey, we got the panel right here. Producer
I
Britt, we
thought
got
you
the
were about to say
panel.
with my dad. I thought you were about to say with my
I
dad.
mean, that's the part where I got tongue. Hey, we were hanging out with my dad.
Hey, it's
So yeah, we
okay.
here. We here.
Wow. Okay, so getting back into it. So I got this from PolitiFact. And I like PolitiFact because if you don't know, viewers out there, that PolitiFact, they pull these stories from online. They see headlines everywhere, and they use this little meter over here that tells you it's mostly true, it's definitely true, it's, it's moderately true, or it's false. It's I think that when it's really false, it's like pants on fire, liar, liar, pants on fire. So that's what it says. So I think this is a really cool website if you are someone that reads a lot of headlines. If you read headlines and
Mm,
if you don't like to read articles, because they also give you like a short version right here as well to what's going on. Like if your time is short, they let you know in a few couple points what's going on. So, I ain't sponsored by PolitiFact, but hey, I like the website. So
fair enough.
let's get into it. Okay, so we know that tariffs are everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. President Trump has, raised the tariffs in China to 145%, and
Man.
by country, it's been to 10%. The tariffs are on, they're off, they're on, they're off, they're in, they're out. We don't know what he's doing in the White House. He's just
Mhm.
whenever he wakes up, he does something different. So it's estimated that President Donald Trump tariffs will mean American families would have to pay about $4,000 more per year. According to Political Fact, this is mostly true. So,
Mm,
just some of the, not necessarily our time is short, but just to give you guys a little overview here. So, PolitiFact, they did a study, and they found that these four. Let me go down to where I really see it at, where it says our ruling. Okay, and they do this thing
mhm,
called our ruling right here, which is really cool. So there are four independent groups estimated to range from 3,100 to about $5,000 on average, and the fit a year, okay, that families would have to pay due to tariffs and where the economy is going. The fifth is using a more restrictive method, estimating about a $1,300 loss for those families. So I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Jones, if you can explain this a little bit more for us. Oh,
It's
you're
all
muted,
about the
Dr.
numbers, right? It's
Uh
all
huh.
it's all about the numbers, right? It's all
Mm
about the math, right?
hmm.
And
Mm
when you
mm,
think about this, $4,000 a year more, that's about what, $333 a month.
hmm.
Okay.
Mm hmm.
And if you were to break that down per day, that's about $11 a day.
Okay.
$11 a day. Okay. And when you think about $11 more a day, then it doesn't seem as hard as looking at it as $4,000 a more a year, right?
Mm hmm. Mm hmm.
Okay.
true. True.
So I like what you said, producer Britt, about people who only read headlines.
Mm
So often headlines are designed to snatch your attention. The most expensive thing you'll ever pay is not necessarily giving somebody your time, it's giving them attention. Well, attention is time to a degree, but you got to get their attention before you give them your time. So
Mm,
headlines like this are designed to trigger and to cause us to feel a certain way. And the reality of it is this administration is doing some things that are different, that are on the edge. I mean, that are hard hitting. And I think we have to roll up our sleeves and say we're going to make the most of it and lean into platforms like this, PolitiFact, in order to know what's the truth and not get fugabooed and be triggered by emotions. I think that we're living in a time now where we need to drain the swamp of our emotions when it comes to
Mm.
this administration and deal with the facts, deal with the numbers, and put together our plan as for how we're going to make the most of this situation.
I agree. And I think it
mm,
was earlier this week or last week, but Jonathan, I told you about some entrepreneurs that came together in Atlanta, and they
Oh yeah.
strategized about what was, what they were going to do because of tariffs, and how the
Hmm.
tariffs affect business owners and families and what have
For
you.
sure.
It trickles
Hmm.
down. So I definitely agree with you, Dr. Jones, because we do just have to stop complaining and just, we got to do what we got to do these next 4 years, and and what's going to happen in the future, and just, put our boots on the ground and just keep it moving, because we ain't got
Yeah,
no
because
choice.
it's
We ain't got no choice. We ain't got no
I mean,
choice.
we don't have a choice, but at the same time, it's one of those things to where like you see the game that's being played, you
Mm-hmm.
can't change the rules. You just have to
Mm-hmm.
understand you have to get in where you can, and then you have to now understand the rules of the game that's currently being played, and then play the game that way. Just like you were talking about with the people in Atlanta who came together. Okay, so great. If we see that, you know, going about business this way is going to cost us X, Y, Z, and we can't afford it. Okay, well, how can we collaborate? How can we partner? Or
Right.
where are ways to where we can ultimately be able to alleviate, this potential cost wherever and
Mm-hmm.
however, to where, make sure our families are good, our livelihood is good. Because at the end of the day, the information gap is growing, the wealth gap is growing. We have to be able to do something to plug the hole in the ship, because if not, we're gonna sink and we all gonna drown. So we got to stop playing. We got to get it together. And like you said, producer Britt, looking at the information that we have, then we got to make the best decisions.
I like it. I feel like we're in a real life game of Jumanji. Because
Oh my God.
everything, like every puzzle piece is like coming to life. Like everything that you do, it's like it's affecting you. So yeah.
A puzzle piece
Hmm.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. It's not
Love Jumanji.
Jumanji.
Yeah, yeah, it's happening. Okay, next I got another article from PolitiFact here. And okay, y'all, I fell victim to this one, okay? And it's mostly false according to PolitiFact. So Republicans just voted in House Judiciary Committee to allow Trump to deport US citizens to a foreign country. Um I fell victim, guys. I looked at the headline and I was like, oh my gosh, he's gonna take us all away, or he's gonna start with he's gonna start with a group of people. He's gonna start with this group. He's gonna start with that group. And I did
Yeah.
listen to a little bit of the when he was in the Oval Office talking to the president of El Salvador, and he was saying, I the homegrown criminals. And then I read this article, and he said, what about the people that are pushing people in front of the subways, or I think like
Mm,
knocking people over the head, or this
mm,
this doing
mm, mm.
outrageous, crimes. Yes, everyone deserves due process, but I totally fell victim to those headlines. So
Oh
I'll
my
pass it
goodness.
over. I'll pass it over to you, Dr. Joe, so you can explain how we're not gonna be deported.
Well, that's this is a great example of being fugabooed, right? But
Yes.
here's the deal. Here's the deal. U.S. citizens cannot be deported. Just think what that would mean.
Mm,
A citizen could be deported at any time. There's a violation of due process. There's no protection. I mean, all of us would be like terrorized. Okay.
mhm,
Now, we realize the reason why some headline like this can get away is because this administration is doing some reckless things. This
Hmm. Hmm.
administration
mhm,
is
mhm,
pushing the envelope on the letter of the law, and there are things that are being done that seems to escape the checks and balances that are
mm.
supposed to be in place. That's why something like this can come up and fly over the radar and almost get past it. But just for the record, you citizens cannot be deported, but people who are illegal or not authorized or who don't have their documentation in place, they can be. But us who are citizens over here legally, and any of the other people who have become American citizens, they can't be deported.
This makes me think of two truths and a lie, right? Because it's where we're in a space and we're in a time to where we're seeing so much information here, there, everywhere, and you can't really, you don't have enough time to decipher through fast enough, producer Brick, because you got one headline hitting you here, you got one headline hitting you there, you
They
got,
everywhere.
then you got Twitter, Instagram, CNN, SNBC. So all of these things is coming from all over the place, and just like, okay, well, how can we slow this down to where all these things are just coming? We don't have time to check and balance, like my dad said. But at the same time, like really decipher the source. Because as you were breaking this down a little bit, producer Britt, the first thought that came to mind for me was fear. Because at the end of the day,
Absolutely.
if somebody incites fear, then now this is going to put you in a position to where now there's going to be a different process that you follow. Oh my goodness, the house is burning. Let me get out. You're not gonna think through. Okay, well, what do I need to do? What do I need to get out? Like you're not gonna go through your. Let me lock the door. That don't matter. Get out the
Hmm.
house. However I can get out. Let me jump through the window.
And
So
to your point, when you're saying that, so many people on TikTok were like, "Oh my gosh, I'm looking at paperwork so I can go live overseas. I'm looking
that's
at
it.
paperwork so I can go, get a visa and work here, or get a visa to live
Mm-hmm.
here, or I mean, yes, there's countries in Africa that are, accepting us, and I'm just looking for ways to get out of here. You got, I mean, yes, celebrities, they have buku crazy money, and you have
For sure.
someone like Ellen, she moving out of the country for 4 years, but she could do
Mm.
that. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that she could do that. But U.S. citizens, guys, we're not gonna be going anywhere. I felt like this is a really good thing to talk about because it's everywhere. It's everywhere, and I know that there was a case that there was a Venezuelan man that he was deported, and the Supreme Court, they told him, they told the Trump administration to bring him back, and
Mm.
they still have not brought him back.
Oh,
That story goes a little deeper than what it is, but U.S. citizens are homegrown. If you, like Dr. Jones said, if you're a U.S. citizen or became a U.S. citizen, you will not be deported. So
that's
very
good
important to
news.
know. Oh, go
That's
what you
good
got,
news.
Dr. Jones. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the law, precision matters.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm.
and precision matters, and so does protecting the constitutional rights of our citizens.
I agree.
Precision.
Mm.
Okay, and so we got one more here, guys. I thought that this was important to talk about. So, the Trump administration budgeted proposed calls for a $26.7 billion cut to Section 8 and other federal housing assistance program, a 43% reduction from current funding levels. The plan would shift responsibility for affordable housing to state, introduce time limits on assistance, and could lead to increased homelessness and financial instability for low income families. The proposal has drawn criticism from Democrats and housing advocates, while Republicans argue the reforms are necessary to curb federal spending. So, not to say they're well, Dr. Jones, you can correct me, but not to say that they're cut. Well, they're bringing it down to a state level, not a federal level, is what I understood. Well, yeah, what I understood from the article is that they want it to be on a state by state basis and not just an overall federal basis. Is that true?
Well, when you shift responsibility from federal protection to state protection, oftentimes many people who have been marginalized feel that they are being exposed to a harsher letter of the law when they put it in the hands of
Mm.
the states.
Mm.
Whereas we've often seen that
Okay.
federal law and federal protection is greater and better, meaning it's more protective and regulated on a fair level. So
Mm-hmm.
this administration here is looking to cut this section 8 housing and so forth, so to reduce this budget, want to kick it back to the states and say, you all cut the limits, lower it. And what's going to be the pushback is this going to disproportionately affect a certain group of people? And if it disproportionately hurt a group of people or put a harsher burden on a group of people, then that's when you're going to get the outcry and the opposition. So
Mm.
that's what you're looking at here.
Okay. And
Mm.
just for those that don't know, Section 8 covers about 2.3 million households nationwide. And the demand is continually to grow. And then the waiting list for housing vouchers often has been remained closed for years due to high demand and limited funding, and state-run programs, like Dr. Jones was saying, it could result in the transparency and fewer protections for renters.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
Jonathan, you got
Mm.
anything? when you read the
I mean,
article?
just looking at yeah, I mean, so just looking at this, just talking about Section 8 and like what we're talking about before with the education, but now this is I feel this is applying to just a vast array of people, right? So being in this position, and if we talk about anything that's increasing homelessness, which we know is a drastic issue in any city, if you go to any metropolitan area and you go downtown, this is something that we wanna be away from, right?
Yeah.
So because we don't want. I mean, we can drive downtown Dallas, and you'll see sleeping bags all down the highway
Oh
and
yeah.
everything else, and it's just depressing.
I mean,
So just
LA. I mean, LA is horrible. It's just
oh my
oh man,
goodness,
LA is
oh
just
my goodness.
horrible.
I mean,
Skid Row.
like LA. I don't want to say LA glorifies it, but you see it in all the movies in LA, and
Yeah.
you have all the stories about that, the soloists and different things like that. But like I just want to. I just want some of those people who voted Trump, and who have made those decisions. Like now, we're starting to see the ripple effects of that, like here. So
And it's
now,
only been
what?
100 days.
Producer
It's
Britt, don't
only it's
remind me.
only it's only been 100 days. It's only been 100 days. Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
guys, I think that we wrapped everything up. This is a great conversation. One thing I do want to leave off on, I do want to talk about really quick, Dr. Jones, is um all these trials that we got going on right now. We got the Diddy
Oh,
trial. I know that you were interested in talking about this. So we got the Diddy trial. We got Shannon Sharp. Now we got Smokey
mm,
Robinson. Now we got. Can
mm.
you just speak on it? We got about 5 minutes here. Can you give us a little insight? What's happening right now? What's going on?
From an
Well,
attorney's perspective, what you got for us? What you got for us, Attorney Jones?
well, you know, being getting caught in the crosshairs of justice, you're always going to lose.
Mm,
Mm,
Period. Okay, that's the first thing. Period.
mm-hmm,
Because your reputation, your resources, and you could even lose your freedom, right?
mm-hmm.
The fact that you're being accused of any of these type things is a harsh burden to pay, and we see it happening so often. And who wins? The lawyers win.
Mm.
mm.
Yeah,
That's who
taking all
wins.
those. Yeah,
That's,
talking about
that's
taking
who
all the
gets
time
paid.
on those cases. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
It's unfortunate that what we're seeing is very unfortunate. But go ahead, John.
Mm-hmm.
No. I was about to say the lawyers win, the news outlets win. Producer Britt, I saw you pulled up in NBC News. The pop up said you want to stay up to date with the Diddy trial. Sign up
Right.
here. So now everybody is benefiting from the potential demise
Of
of
this
of
man.
of P Diddy, of
Yeah.
Shannon Sharp, of these individuals, and just like we talked about on the show maybe a week or so ago, like this is the OJ trial, right? This is the OJ trial of our time and
Of
of the
hip hop.
culture,
Yeah.
as Bill Bellamy said
Mm-hmm.
on the Breakfast Club in the morning. So this is one of those things we got to watch it as it comes out, and the thing that I'm fearful of is that some of those people that we've admired and some of those people that we've looked up to, uh, some stuff might come out for them in this case, for them being
Right.
potential witnesses. And, so this is ripping off a band aid and putting salt in it. I really feel like in this case.
Yeah. Yeah. It's. I mean, it's scary. What you got, Dr. Jones?
There are victims on the other side of this that
True.
that often get lost. Now that's the
Mm,
thing
Mm.
when we see the superstars and these people that we've come to love and respect and like, and we go soft. We like, oh, we don't want that to happen to him, but we lose track of the fact that
mm,
somebody's been harmed. And the purpose of the law is to protect those, the innocent, the weak, the elderly, the youth, the children, these individuals who have been victimized. We don't want them victimized by the powerful, the rich, and the famous. Therefore, it doesn't matter if it's Bishop Fred Jones or Bishop T.D. Jakes. If
Mm-hmm.
we do wrong,
mm,
we have to be held accountable for that wrong. And that's where the law comes in, be it Combs, be it Quincy, be it Shannon, whoever it might be. Then the purpose of the law is to hold us accountable for our actions and for our behaviors. And if we don't want to be caught in the crosshairs of this, then don't do that stuff in the dark, because it's definitely going to come to the light.
mm.
Understood. That was yeah. That's
That's
it.
strong coffee right there.
That's
That's
it
strong
right
coffee, producer
there.
Britt.
Yeah, that's it right there. That is it right
Oh
there.
man,
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah. Yeah. So,
Okay.
guys, thank you so much, Dr. Jones. Thank you so much for coming back on. Yeah, we appreciate you always. Your opinion matters. And Jonathan, what you got?
Man, no, I mean that's it right there. So I mean for everybody who who hopped on the show and who hopped on the stream today to tune in. I want to encourage you just to subscribe to the channel, right? So you make sure to continue to be able to get this content to where we're bringing you information, right? We're not just bringing you headlines, we're not just bringing you clickbait, but we're bringing information and we're breaking it down every Thursday. That's what we're gonna do here with Attorney Jones, producer Britt, as well as myself. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, also hit the like button so YouTube will get notified that that you enjoyed this content and that you want to see more of it. And lastly, y'all, for the final word, man, for the final word, know the law, right? Know the law. And I'm saying that because too often, if we're not careful, people can slide stuff under us. We can think that it's fact and it's fiction all along. All right, family. So, y'all, thank you so much for rocking with Speaker Success in the morning with producer Britt and myself. And today we had on attorney Fred Jones, my father, who anytime I get to chop it up with my dad is always a pleasure. But family, we're gonna have another great show for you tomorrow. As we're rolling into Mother's Day, producer Britt and me, we're gonna talk about some Mother's Day stuff coming up and some of our favorite mother's stories. And today actually is my mom's birthday, right? So happy birthday, mom. Happy birthday, mom. I'm gonna go tell her in just a second. But family, we're getting out of here. So remember, speak your success, believe in your greatness, and continue to create the life and business of your dreams. Why should you and why would you live any other